Every great movement has names the world remembers, but behind those names are voices, witnesses, and builders who helped shape the story from the inside. This story begins with one of those voices. DJ Gold is more than a name connected to a legendary era in Texas music. He represents proximity to a culture, a sound, and a movement that helped change Southern hip-hop forever. Through his memories, his perspective, and the people connected to his story, we get a closer look at the world surrounding DJ Screw, the Screwed Up Clique, and the builder spirit that made that movement so powerful. This is not just a story about music. It is a story about loyalty, vision, hustle, and the people who helped build something from the ground up. And as this story unfolds, DJ Gold becomes an important doorway into a much larger history. A history rooted in Texas, a history built through DJs, a history carried by real people, real relationships, and real moments that still matter today. This is where the journey begins, with DJ Gold, with the culture, and with the road that leads deeper into the legacy of DJ Screw. When people talk about movements, they often talk about the biggest names first. They talk about the legends, they talk about the icons, they talk about the center of the spotlight. But every real movement also has people close enough to see what others miss. People who were not just watching history, people who were living inside of it. And that is what makes DJ Gold important. DJ Gold's story feels personal because it comes from proximity. It comes from being there. It comes from seeing not just the public image, but the real human side of the people and the culture behind the music. That matters, because when someone is close enough to witness the details, they can tell you more than what happened. They can tell you how it felt. They can tell you how people moved. They can tell you what kind of energy a person carried when no cameras were around. And from everything gathered here, DJ Gold comes across as somebody who carries real memory. Not borrowed memory, not secondhand memory, real memory. The kind of memory that comes from being connected to people, places, pressure, and purpose. There is something powerful about a person who can speak on a movement because they helped live it. And that is what gives DJ Gold weight. His voice matters because it feels rooted. It feels like it comes from experience. It feels like it comes from somebody who understands that this culture was not built by accident. It was built by people making things happen day by day, tape by tape, connection by connection, move by move. And when you look closer, DJ Gold does not come across like someone chasing attention. He comes across like someone carrying history, someone carrying pieces of a world that meant something, someone who understands what was built, who built it, and why it still deserves respect. That is personal, because at that point, the story is no longer just about music. It becomes about responsibility. It becomes about memory. It becomes about making sure people understand that this was real life, real people, real sacrifice, real hustle, real love, real loss. That is where DJ Gold becomes more than a name connected to a famous era. He becomes a witness. He becomes a voice from inside the culture. He becomes one of the people who can still help explain what made that world move. And what makes that even more important is that the people around great figures often get overlooked. The world usually remembers the star, but the people around the star remember the details. They remember the rooms. They remember the road. They remember the pressure. They remember the laughter. They remember the moments when greatness still looked ordinary. And those details matter because that is where humanity lives. That is where truth lives. And in DJ Gold's case, the truth seems to be tied to loyalty, to closeness, to understanding the inner mechanics of a movement that would later become legendary. There is also something deeply personal in the way this story reflects brotherhood. Not just business, not just music, but brotherhood. The kind built through time, presence, respect, and shared experiences. The kind where people know each other beyond titles. The kind where the bond means something even years later. That feeling stays with a person. And when someone like DJ Gold speaks, you can feel that what he carries is not just information. It is connection. It is memory attached to real people. That gives the story emotion. It gives it weight. It gives it value beyond entertainment. Because now you're not just hearing about a scene. You're hearing about people who mattered to one another. People who built together. People who stood in moments together that would one day become history. And sometimes the most powerful stories don't come from the loudest voice. Sometimes they come from the person who was standing close enough to see the truth clearly. That is what makes DeeJay Gold so important in this lane. He helps bring the story back down to earth. He helps remind us that these movements were built by individuals with real personalities, real struggles, and real relationships. He helps remind us that legends don't rise in isolation. They rise within a circle, a community, a climate, a set of people who all played a part. And in that way, DeeJay Gold represents something bigger than himself. He represents the voices near the center, the voices that help complete the picture, the voices that keep a story from becoming too distant or too polished. Because real history has texture, it has imperfections, it has emotion, it has memories that come with pride, pain, and reflection. And that is why personal storytelling matters here. Because when DeeJay Gold talks, the culture doesn't feel like mythology. It feels lived, it feels close, it feels human. For DeeJay B, that part matters too. Because builders recognize builders, and people who create from the ground up often recognize the same spirit in others. Not because the stories are identical, but because the mindset is familiar, the work is familiar, the vision is familiar, the sacrifices are familiar, and that creates a natural connection, a natural respect, a real interest in understanding not just what DeeJay Gold saw, but who DeeJay Gold is as a person, shaped by what he lived through. That is where this story becomes richer, because now the focus is not just the movement around him. Now the focus is the man himself, a man who seems to carry pieces of history with him, a man whose memories help give shape to a larger cultural story, a man whose perspective matters because he was close enough to feel the weight of what was happening in real time. And maybe that's one of the most important parts of all. DeeJay Gold helps remind us that history is not just made by the person at the center. It is also preserved by the people who were close enough to remember, close enough to care, close enough to tell it with feeling, close enough to make sure it doesn't disappear. That is what gives his story power. That is what makes his story personal. And that is why his voice deserves to be heard. Because in telling what he knows, he is doing more than talking about the past. He is helping protect a legacy. He is helping hold on to a culture. He is helping make sure that the people, the moments, and the meaning behind it all are not forgotten. And sometimes, that is one of the greatest roles a person can play. Not just being part of history, but helping carry it forward. This is for all the DJs, because you are the movement. This Texas tribute is for DeeJay Gold and the work he put into this Southern music culture. This is not just music, it is now documented history that will live on forever. Thank you, DeeJay Gold, for your contribution to Texas.
Gospel in the deck, screwed to the south, but I'll slow down when the beats start preaching. Lost in the smoke, but the faith still reaching. Had some demons riding back six scheming. Now I swing solo, trunk glow gleaming. Screw tape, wisdom talking the bass. Every low no heal my pain and my faith. Said patience turned a sinner to a saint. Now I ride clean candy paint, no taint. Tipping more beats like a quad.